On a quiet March night in 1990, two men walked into a museum in Boston and walked out with art so valuable that experts say its worth cannot truly be measured. No alarm sounded. No chase followed. And more than 3 decades later, not a single stolen piece has ever been recovered. This is the story of the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum heist. One of the greatest unsolved art crimes in history. The paintings are gone. The frames remain. And the question still echoes today. Where is the missing art? And perhaps more importantly, who took it? To understand this mystery, we begin not with the thieves, but with the woman whose name the museum carries. Isabella Stewart Gardner was a passionate art collector, philanthropist, and personality unlike any other in Boston society. She believed art should be lived with, not locked away, that museums shouldn't feel cold or distant. She designed her museum like a home. Every room arranged with intention. Paintings, sculptures, furniture, letters, and rare objects placed exactly where she wanted them. When Isabella passed away in 1924, she left behind very strict instructions in her will. The galleries were never to be changed. If anything was moved or altered, legal consequences could follow. That detail matters. Because today, when you walk into the museum, you still see the empty frames where masterpieces once hung, just as she required. The date was March 18, 1990. Boston had just finished celebrating St. Patrick's Day. The city was quiet in the early morning hours. At around 1:24 a.m., two men dressed as police officers arrived at the museum's entrance. They rang the buzzer and told the security guards they were responding to a disturbance call. The guards, unsure but cooperative, let the men inside. Once in, the impostors told one of the guards that he looked familiar and that they thought there was a warrant for his arrest. Confused, the guard stepped away from his desk, the place he was supposed to remain during overnight shifts. That decision changed history. The officers restrained the guards and took control of the building's security area. Now free to move through the galleries, they spent roughly 81 minutes inside the museum. They didn't rush. They seemed comfortable. They appeared to know exactly where they were going. By the time they left, 13 works of art were gone. Among them were paintings by Rembrandt, Vermeer, Degas, Manet, as well as rare objects and historical items. The next morning, museum staff arrived and discovered what had happened. The value of the stolen works has been estimated in the hundreds of millions of dollars. Some say over $1 billion in today's worth. Yet value alone isn't what makes them priceless. Many of these works are unique. They aren't replaceable. If they are gone forever, the world simply loses them. In total, 13 pieces were taken. One of the most famous is the concert by Johannes Vermeer. Only a small number of Vermeer's works are known today, making the loss especially significant. 2 works by Rembrandt were also taken, including a seascape scene that was the only known seascape he ever created. A bronze eagle finial, several sketches by Degas, and a small self-portrait by Rembrandt were also removed. But perhaps the most haunting detail inside the museum today is this. The empty frames still hang where the paintings once were. They are not placeholders for future art. They remain because Isabella Stewart Gardner's will requires it. The museum cannot rearrange the galleries. The absence itself has become part of the exhibit. A visual reminder of what was lost that night. The FBI, local police, and international agencies launched a massive investigation. They interviewed known art thieves, museum insiders, and organized crime figures. They followed leads across the United States and overseas. Over time, theories emerged. Some believed the crime was done by professionals connected to organized crime. Others suspected the thieves were amateurs who got extremely lucky. There were also suggestions of inside knowledge, because the thieves seemed comfortable navigating the museum. Despite tips, rumors, and alleged sightings of the art in other countries, nothing has ever been officially recovered. the museum has continued to offer a multi-million-dollar reward for information leading to the return of the stolen items. Over the years, investigators have named possible suspects and developed strong theories. But the case remains officially unsolved. No one has ever been convicted for the heist. No painting has ever been recovered. And somewhere, maybe in a private collection, a storage unit, or hidden away in a basement, the art may still exist. Why does this crime stay with us? Maybe it's because no one was seriously hurt. Maybe it's the intelligence and planning behind it. Maybe it's simply the idea that masterpieces could just vanish. Unlike many crime stories, this one leaves us with no dramatic chase. No courtroom conclusion. No recovered treasure. Only questions. The missing art represents more than money. It represents culture, creativity, and human history. We are drawn to mysteries. And this one remains wide open. Today, the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum remains one of Boston's most unique landmarks. Visitors still walk past the empty frames. The museum still hopes the works will come home. Investigators say they remain committed to solving the case. Tips still come in from around the world. And even decades later, the story continues to inspire books, documentaries, and conversation. Somewhere out there, the missing art is waiting. What do you think happened to the paintings? Were they destroyed? Hidden? Or are they sitting in a private room, known only to a few? Let me know your theory in the comments. If you enjoyed this documentary and want more mystery-based, PG-level crime stories, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. This has been the story of the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum heist. One of history's greatest unsolved art crimes. Until next time, stay curious.